Well, welcome back, everybody. Happy Sunday and happy future. Now that I work like a strange kind of schedule, I don't really think about having Monday off because normally I work, I guess, Friday through Wednesday is my normal schedule. So, when you have those weird kind of schedules, it's always hard to kind of remember where you kind of fit into the routine of a 3-day weekend and all that fun stuff. But I tell you what, I'm baking in this California heat. It is hot. It's hot. Oh.
Trying to not look like a ghost.
You're
That might be appropriate.
I mean, I am pale, but...
All right.
Well, that diffuses it a little bit. Now if I can figure out how to get it to stay there.
Where we last left off. Session 1 brought the team together at a place called the Spire by Fire. And a brief interaction of the need to help assist a dwarf to sell some gems to some respectable people turned into an opportunity to gain some favor with House Loomis. It was Karina who brought her friends back to the estate of House Loomis, had the gems turned over to the caretaker, and then vaulted. However, in the middle of the night, it would seem that one of the houses has made a move on House Loomis in an effort to not only maybe recover what was lost, but an attempt at taking the life of 2 of the Hubatt Corsairs that were involved in the original transaction. The team managed to defeat the assassins involved, found their way over to the gondola that took them down into the Lantern Spire. Here in the Lantern Spire was Karina that remembered she knows of a place to lay low and stay safe, as you guys found yourself at the steps in the middle of the night of the Temple of the Dawnfather within the Lantern Spire.
I think Melody led us there.
It was, Melody's.
Oh, yeah, it was Melody. Yes, I thought it was Karina. It was Melody. I just rechecked my notes. Melody, as you lead everybody up the stairs, it's quite quiet. Not a lot of nighttime activity here. This particular district within the Lantern Spire is kind of secluded and built in the midsection of the Lantern Spire, offering up a bit of privacy, but yet a strange kind of eerie calm. Once at the top of the steps, the iron door with the great sunrise emblem above it is closed. No sign of any guards, which would be normal for this temple. It's not over the top. It's not anything overly ostentatious. You stand at the door. The others behind you. What do you do?
Does it seem like the door is locked, or can I open it?
You check the door. It's locked.
I will knock on the door and say, "We seek your aid. Please let us in."
A little slide opens up, a pair of eyes looking out towards you. Oh, Mistress Melody. Why have you come back here? Every time you come... Never mind. Come in. The slide closes. The door handle clicks. Door swings open.
Come on, guys.
Of you follow into a darkened kind of entryway, a foyer of some plain room. A person dressed in the gold, red, and black of the Dawnfather stands there, big, heavy beard drifting down to his chest. What do we have to owe to your arrival this time, Melody? Why do you require solace yet again?
It sounds like I crash there all the time.
Well, he may be happy to know you're not drunk this time.
I'm still a
I
little.
am happy to know that. It's a little disturbing that maybe she was drunk the previous times, but thank you for your concern.
I mean, that's the crashing place, right? That's how it usually goes. You go out, you get drunk, and come back to a place where you can crash at night.
Oh, great priest of the Dawn Father, we seek refuge here tonight, escaping an attack by bandits on another spire. Can we please rest here tonight?
Attack, you say? In trouble, you say? You do look a bit haggard. Fine. Follow me. I will take you to the chambers. You watch as he begins to lead you down and away from the entry point, down a set of stairwells into a long, darkened hallway. Opens up a door into a very plain, simple room with about 7 very simple beds, a table, no window that you could see. A small lamp is on in the corner. The smell of the oil kind of drifting into the room as well.
Can I get one of the extra pillows like you guys usually bring me?
I can assure you, Father Bertrand is not here this evening. Although he did give us plenty of warning about your discerning taste of comfort. No, Melody, there will be no extra pillows since we do not have extra pillows.
Like,
For your stay, breakfast is bright and early. Mind your manners. Remain in your chambers. If you're caught out without escort within the main proprietaries of the halls, you'll be asked to leave. Is that clearly understood?
Thank you, Father.
You're welcome. Now, go back to my prayers. Door slams. The 5 of you are now inside the common room. What would you like to do?
Ford's gonna go to the bed and like he'll toss the pillow over to Melody, but he lays down. He lays down and puts his hat over his face. Like he lays flat and kind of crosses his arms and puts his hat straight over his face. And I'd like to burn my token I left in the tree in the garden back at the other spire. I can't remember the name of the place now, where we almost died. Yeah, the course, but I stuck in the tree of the garden outside of the Loomis house grounds.
Correct.
Where technically we were supposed to go meet somebody. Where we were supposed to take the prisoners. Where we would go wait for us in the garden.
That's
so
right.
As we ran out, I like jammed a tooth in the tree there.
Yeah. Where you managed to con your way past the people who were taking over House Loomis. Anything in particular you have to do to invoke this, or does it just send you into
I just go into a trance for a minute, and I'm oblivious to anything going on around me, and I'm essentially seeing and hearing from my token.
There are 5 figures standing, 4 of which are holding up someone who's bound. There's a linen bag over the person's head, so you can't quite make them out. And that is a giant glass of wine. That was amazing. It like covered your face, right? That was awesome.
Be merry.
A bald-headed individual enters the frame. White goatee, a severe scar running down the right side of his face. You can hear him speak to the others. Is this the only one left? Yes, sir. The others have been dealt with. I thought there were more of us to meet here. What happened to them? I'm not really sure, sir. They weren't familiar to me. Perhaps they got confused by the instructions. Well, whatever. Have our Loomis friend taken to our... Well, you know where to take her. Yes, sir. You watch as they pick up the bound individual, tossed over their shoulder, and they begin to stand there on the edge. You then watch as each one of them unfurl wings, glider-like, on their back, and they drift silently off the edge of the Corp Spire cliff. The one man, however, remains, and for a brief moment, he stares at the tree where you left the token. He begins to approach it just as your image burns out, thereby destroying the token at the same time.
Would it be possible to roll perception on the clothing the person was, to see if it was someone that I had recognized or seen, or the clothing at least looked familiar?
Sure. Give me an insight check on that one.
Insight? Okay.
Yeah.
Not bad at all. How about a 22?
The colors that they were wearing definitely reminded you of the Ivory Syndicate. This is someone that looked to be in charge, and they clearly are invoking whatever the Ivory Syndicate once done. Though his face isn't familiar to you, the color of his adornments definitely show that he is a member of the Ivory Syndicate.
And the bound person, were they just had a cloth on their head, or like could I see
They had a canvas like linen bag over their head. They had kind of a feminine figure, but definitely wearing the vestments of House Loomis.
Okay. After the minute's up, like I'll kind of pull my hat and sit up and kind of put it back on my head at the same time. I suggest we all get some sleep. I'll wait till morning to share the news. Wouldn't want to worry your pretty little heads while we're napping here in the temple.
As a changeling, can I maintain my form as Karina while asleep, since it's my primary form?
Yeah, because you're conscious, you're not unconscious.
Ah, okay. And I would like to ask my crow to go to the like primary building of the Chandei Quorum, the main council.
Chandei Quorum, their administrative structure.
Yeah, at some point I will.
Yes, mistress. I'll be glad to do that for you. While I'm away, do you require anything else of me?
Be discreet and see if you can, if anything is amiss over there. Something this big ought to create some kind of major waves out there.
Of course.
You have to open up the door, let him out, and eventually he flies through the corridors and out a window.
Well, I assume I'm gonna get a private room. So who do I talk about? Who do I talk to about this?
Oh, trust me, Karina, I have tried, and they will not do it. Not even Birdie was willing to do that for me.
What?
I'm like 5 steps into an 18-part nighttime routine of bad dreams on my face.
Filing the ends of your horns.
Yeah.
Outrageous. If I was not severely traumatized, I would throw a fit.
I'm 100% behind you here.
Forn like sits on the floor, like back against the bed, and just pulls his hat down over his face, and like arms crossed and starts to nod out. That's my routine.
I guess we will make do. So, does anybody know anything about those people? I mean, this is pretty shocking for House of Loomis.
You guys didn't have any like enemies?
Everybody has enemies, but not ones that we thought were powerful enough to do this.
Okay, I guess we're doing this now. I tip this hat
He
back,
lifts the hat up.
and I'll share like the information that we got and from the or the information that I got from the tooth. There was 5 figures out in the garden. You know where they told us to take y'all, and one of them though, bald head, white beard, big scar down his face. Wasn't anybody I necessarily recognized, but you know, I don't venture into the core spire that often. It's very hard to get up here. You know how it is. But anyway, they did have somebody with them wearing Luma's clothes, but they had a bag on their head. I'm sorry, Corinna, I couldn't really get a good eye on who it was, but sounds like while it was at one hand was an organized attempt at something, it also sounds like that they were a bit disorganized because they were not aware of where the rest of their party were, assuming that was the ones that we dispatched of back in the foyer at the last building.
Somebody knew that the 2 people who came with us from the tavern would be there. They even knew which room they would be in to assassinate them.
I mean, the rooms did have windows. I tell you, I saw when they left, they unfurled these mechanical-looking wings and just hopped off the ledge of the garden. So, assuming that's how they possibly got to the spire to begin with, I wouldn't say it's a far crawl that they got a good look in the windows.
Do you think they've been following us since the tavern?
I don't rightly know. At the same time, though, only Emberbeard was the only person that knew where we was taking those, unless there was a plant on somebody.
There were other people at the tavern.
Well, not at the time of this discussion. We was just us in the basement outside of that orc fella. But Emberbeard assured us he was on the up and up. The bartender, and I'm gonna look over at Eritrea.
Yeah.
The bartender was there, but he's been with us this whole time.
But there was a bartender or a bouncer named like Joran or something, right? Who also works at the bar.
Yep, there was a bouncer who was watching.
But he wasn't like down in the bottom with us.
But he wasn't down at the bottom. Yeah.
So I don't think he knew. He knew we were there, but I don't think he knew the details of what was going on.
Yeah.
And there was one person who I was supposed to meet who was gone, who was like the person who was the head of the House Loomis. Can you remind me one last time her name?
Alondra Loomis.
Yeah.
Alondra.
And the person you spoke with was Lyra Donlight, who is one of the Talion Loomis is who you spoke to. That was the one that's in charge of the arcane research and history of House Loomis.
Does the person vaguely that you have seen whose face was covered match the, let's say, like the dimensions of Alondra Loomis?
I've not met her myself, but
I tried to.
Would she have some kind of special clothing or special article that I could try to remember if I saw? Honestly, I did recognize the Loomis seal on the clothes, but that was all I could rightly pull from off the top of my head at the time.
I try to describe her as much as I can.
Give me a performance check on that one, Karina.
It's so nice to not have minus on charisma.
Oh, I'll help because I saw Talion's outfit. We're describing Talion, right?
Yes.
No, I think we're describing. Wow, that was a natural one.
You sure you don't want to describe Talion?
I was trying to describe Alondra.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, Fawn, as you listen to the description, it doesn't sound like it was her.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Corinna. It was rather dark. It's very hard to tell. It was enough that I could see that there was 5 figures plus this bald-headed fella. I mean, his white beard shone very bright in the night light. But the other, canvas bag on the head makes it very hard to pull any distinguishing features.
I understand. Can I do an insight check on the bald guy?
You can do insight on him since it was described to you. Yeah.
See, that scar on his face was
18.
nasty.
18. The person that Foreign describes sounds a lot like a particular warden who goes by the name of Kalin or Tharak Stonefist, a particularly nasty warden that's been known to be on the take for different houses and different smuggling and crime organizations within Jrusar. The fact that he was openly wearing vestments of the Ivory Syndicate sounds a little strange.
Okay, I tell everyone that.
Okay.
Is it really all that strange, though? I mean, if you think about it, if you were gonna start a war in order to maintain power, you certainly wouldn't want to involve yourself in that war. The Ivory Syndicate, I mean, they slaughtered our two fellows from the Hubatt Corsairs. Am I right? The Corsairs, correct me if I'm wrong, are a open competitor to the Ivory Syndicate. I don't know about House Loomis's ties into all of this, but frankly, if this warden was willing to wear the colors of the Ivory Syndicate, perhaps he was thinking he might not be noticed by face, but the colors of his outfit might insinuate who was involved and keep him and the wardens out of it, perhaps.
It's possible.
Hey, Rusty, did you pick up anything while we was out walking on our way back here?
Yeah, sorry, I did my voice.
Go on your vocal warm-ups.
God, what was your? What was the
Backwater idiot? It's okay, I got you. Backwater idiot.
Backwater idiot. Unit's purpose is not for detection; it is for enforcement.
Well, you were trying to hide back there, very poorly, might I add.
This whole time, Eritrea is just mystified, and I just blurt out, "How did you see all of that?" And I'm just completely confused by what.
A good magician never tells a secret. And he like, I
What
took my
about
hat.
poor magicians asking for present company?
You hear a voice in your head. Who you call him poor magician, Rust Bucket? Only you hear that, and only you hear it in your head.
Can I roll a history check and see if I know anything about talismans or an insight?
Mm-hmm.
In regard to
Foreign's talisman that he has on me, like he's speaking to me through that.
Sure, if you want. See if it offers you any insightful understanding.
Okay, great. That is an unnatural 20. So would I recognize that as him putting a talisman on me?
I think so. Unless,
Okay.
Foreign, you want to try to go for a deception check and avoid it.
Sure. Why not?
Go for it.
Always worth
But-
trying. But
That's
I'd have to roll a
natural
to beat
20.
it. Yeah. No, I didn't beat it.
Yeah. Definitely recognize he's putting a talisman on you.
So yeah, Trauma just kind of leans into his face and just says, wants to just try to intimidate him as much as possible. Just like, your parlor tricks are not welcome, and just shoves the lock of hair back at him.
Well, it was a nice way to communicate. I mean, hell, seems like it helped you open the door.
If that's the case, a better solution presents itself. I want to punch him in the face and try to knock teeth out.
No, we just got in a fight.
I love it. Yeah, roll an unarmed strike to see if you can strike foreign.
All right. Okay, so that's a +6. Cool. That is a 25.
Oh yeah, that is.
Whoa.
Yeah. Roll for damage.
It doesn't work if you knock it out, dumbass. Oh.
Come on, you step that. Just roll, flat roll. Okay, it's just a flat 5 on this. There's no roll.
Yeah,
So
it's unarmed.
okay, so flat 5.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Son of a- You know, it doesn't work if you knock it out. I have to selectively take it out. If you like a tooth, though, you want to make a necklace, let me know.
I'm just gonna start distributing his teeth to the people. It's like, Subject 4 has proven himself to be incompetent and a liar. I have no reason to trust his assessment of his abilities.
Corinna, your friend, you passed on that lock of hair, correct? Well, no, I'm sorry. It was my tooth. You passed on my tooth to your friend. I can't hear back from them. And if I was to work my magic and be able to see and hear from where they are, unfortunately, that would burn up the token, which could be useful in a tight spot. But if you're concerned that they may be dead, for example, but if you're not, I could perhaps try to communicate with them, but I don't know how they'd be able to communicate back unless you knew of some special way you and your master or whoever they were communicate.
I'd have to think on that. To tell you the truth, one of the last things she told me was a lie. And so I would be cautious. I trust her, but I also know that certain things I am not privy to.
Your master lied to you, and you're not privy to things. And
Well,
at
I
the
mean,
same night, there's an attack on the House Loomis. Some things are starting to line up here, given this new information, that I'm beginning to question whether or not your friends may have been in on the take.
I have similar questions, except we did see her bound when we were passing through there.
Oh, that purple hair.
Like it's
Talking about that purple hair
constitution.
woman back there.
Is too overwhelmed. One last question before we hopefully get a long rest. Eritrea, you knew Ember Brew better than all of us. He clearly was embroiled in something, and it feels likely that whatever that was is connected to this. I mean, we were most likely followed from his place. This happened immediately after our interactions with him, and the people that came with us who were associated with him were assassinated, even though they were very capable. Can you think of anything that's been strange lately?
He is one that does seem to have his hand in many pockets. But I'll have to reflect if anything has been strange. He always seems to be trying to make deals with various people, and I must reflect to see if any of these seem strange or out of the ordinary.
And now I tire.
Oh my lord, this is gonna be.
If I do not get my
Well,
8 hours, I might just pass out in the middle of a walk.
Fragile indeed. Well, sit back down against the bed.
And faints comfortably.
He's like uncomfortably because now I'm bruised with a sore jaw at this point. Getting comfortable up against the thing, pull the hat back down again. Sleep well.
Karina is really not happy about this arrangement. I know this is the end of the world, but she's not going to take this for much longer.
So, Foreign, you settle into your long rest. Karina, you settle into your long rest. Anybody else want to do anything before?
I'm gonna kneel at the bed and start praying, and mid prayer, I'm just gonna like fall over into sleep because I'm so exhausted.
Trauma's gonna position himself right beside the door, and just my ability is Sentry's Rest. So basically, I can stay conscious as long as I'm inert. But yeah, I get the. I can't really do anything for 6 hours, but I can kind of keep watch.
You go into like your stasis overwatch.
I'm gonna standby mode essentially.
Function, yeah. Melody, you're the last one up. You watch Traumaton go towards the door, go into a stasis like overwatch. Karina appears to be asleep. Foreign appears to be asleep. It's weird. Eritrea is kind of like hunched over the edge of the bed, just kind of like in a prayer state, but you can hear him snoring.
I'll put a blanket over Eritrea and I'll steal the pillow off of his bed and I'll go to sleep.
Everyone give me charisma saves, please.
Ooh.
Woohoo! I want to fail that.
Is this against a spell?
It is not.
Okay.
I got 19.
Okay.
I got a 19 as well.
Nice. Twinsies.
14.
What'd you get, Karina?
14.
14.
I win.
Born.
We're playing golf, right?
What'd you get at Traumaton for your charisma save?
Nope,
You're
you're muted, buddy.
Sorry. 10.
And
I win, right? Golf.
I figured you guys didn't want to hear my me parceling out my old man drugs. You know?
your old cat drugs?
No, old man drugs. These are my
old
drugs.
man drugs for you. I got you
Yeah.
beat. Trust me. I got you way beat on the old man side of things. You guys wake up the following morning. Go ahead and click off a long rest.
Yes.
It is the morning of day 2 since your chat at the Spire by Fire. There's a subtle knock at the door. The breakfast is served. And then you hear feet, like footsteps, and then another knock. Breakfast is served. Then a little further down, breakfast is served. And you can begin to hear the rumblings of people waking in the chambers up and down the hallway. It is now morning.
Foreign stands up, stretches, pulls his hat back, and like puts his tongue out. You see him like and all of his teeth are back. He's just
Ooh.
kind of like, yep. All right, everything's there. Puts his hat back on. The fun things I can do, I pull them out and they grow back overnight.
It's pretty sweet.
Well, suppose we ought to have our morning victuals. And he just casually walks out of the room.
The hallways begin to slowly fill up with acolytes and those that are practitioners of the Dawn Father. What do the rest of you do?
Drama just powers up with the Windows 95 activation noise.
Yeah, I think Melody probably woke up early to do some squats and to clean the blood out of her clothes. So she's up and ready to go to breakfast.
Okay.
I say my morning prayers and I head out for breakfast as well.
I feel you wake up to a position and you just start talking as your eyes.
Yes, exactly. Just not
blanket over you.
Pick up mid prayer that I fell asleep in.
There is Karina, as you watch the others leave, Foreign first, eventually a Traumaton, followed by Melody and Eritreo. Karina, you see the familiar crow perched up on a kind of wooden shelf area in the hallway, and it sounds like a subtle caw of the crow, like, and then you hear,
Mistress. Nothing to report. The administrative buildings of the Chandei Quorum were quite silent, and nothing really going on, mistress.
Strange. Go back there. No.
Yeah, of course.
Actually, go back to House Lumos and
yes,
try to stay out of anyone's sight.
Do I have your leave to turn into other forms to get better insights upon what's happening? I will have to feed on a corpse, of course, to provide the service.
As always, you are more than welcomed.
And you're always giving, never taking.
I know, I'm so nice.
As the four of you are walking up the stairs, a crow, just a ratty old decomposing crow, just kind of flies right over.
I pull my pistol again, like trailing it, like I'm gonna kill that thing one of these days.
Oh, I mean, it's my master's last presents to me. Please don't do that. It is so precious to me.
What the hell kind of magic does your master do? That is the ugliest, deadest already thing I think I've ever seen.
Well, there's actually a very touching story about how she rescued him. You know, he had this really bad condition, and through love, she managed to get him back. It's actually very touching when you know his side of things.
Oh, that's incredible. Beautiful story.
I see.
You get backwater, idiot. You mentioned this is the ugliest thing you have seen. Is it true Fae cannot see their reflections in mirrored surfaces?
Yeah.
Oh my
I
god.
admit, I have had a hard time looking into silver surfaces, but I wouldn't know what I look like anywhere. I can change it when I feel like.
Well, you choose to look like this.
Why, certainly. Blends in here in Jrusar, wouldn't you say?
I'm sure we will at some point kill the bad guys if we don't kill each other first.
You guys arrive in the communal hallway of where people just kind of meet to have a communal meal. There's a variety of people here, mostly people either not doing so well, so they've sought shelter here. Some of those that study the Dawn Father are here as well. But for the most part, feels kind of just low-key, early morning, people just eating a meal. So for anyone that participates in the Dawn Father's breakfast, you get 4 temporary hit points for the next 24 hours.
Excellent.
Given how things are going, I think I'll take it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I kind of am a little dubious of Boren because, you know, being somewhat a man of the cloth and kind of seeing this, you know, this magic that he's using. I want to kind of perform an insight check on him because I feel very wary of the type of person that he is.
Yeah, go for it.
Hey, buddy.
10.
That doesn't beat my passive even. But I think I got to roll. Would that be
Deception.
deception?
If you're,
I mean, I wouldn't like. I wouldn't. I'm not intending to deceive so
Okay.
far. Right.
Yeah, in that case,
Could I just like? Would it be like I sense him kind of staring at me across the table?
yeah, I think that's a great way of describing it. Yeah.
Okay, bird boy, you have questions. What are they? Your goat friend pulled a sword on me the other night. I assume you're feeling uncomfortable as well.
I just am curious where you're getting these types of powers from and where you came from and what you're doing here.
Well, I come from the Fae. And I mean, as far as how I got these powers, as best as I know, I was born with them. That's to say, I don't rightly know the circumstances of my birth, but suffice to say, it has held me along this far.
I kind of take it for what it is, not wanting to argue too much in the morning, kind of shrug it off, but I'm still a little...
I admit, it is very strange, and I mean, especially pulling the teeth is not my preferred method. I can also do fingernails, which is also very awkward. I find, and he like kind of pulls open the side of his coat, and you see like braided knots of hair, all different kinds of braids. Like each one's a different, like a little more intricate as the other. I find hair, as strange as it may be, is the least bizarre method of perusing this form of communication. It also can be somewhat decorative and tends to be, most widely accepted. Lovers over time used to give each other locks of their own hair as a memento. So if you found yourself in possession of one of my hairs, you could rightly assume that you're under my protection, let's say.
How did that work out for you then?
You survived. You survived, didn't you?
Without your help.
I didn't say I was going to survive, friend. I said you're under my protection. Would you like me to braid a knot for that tooth, or are you going to just keep it stuck on the edge of your armor there? Perhaps I can pull enough of them to give you a right smile.
I will collect my own trophies.
Well, now that it's daylight, it does present the question, what do we do? I mean, clearly, by now, others would know that the House of Loomis has been taken over. The Chandei Quorum would have to react in some way. I mean, it is unprecedented for one of the major houses to be taken over by a criminal organization in this way, and especially in such a obvious grab of power. I mean, that's gonna set everything askew.
Corinna, have you been in Jrusar long?
I've been here long enough to know that those in power stay in power.
And how is it do you think that happens?
I'm sorry?
And how is it that you think that happens?
Through dark and nefarious means. But still, when something like that happens, when one of the major houses falls, that's a pretty big grab of power. I mean, in a way, they have been keeping each other in check for a while, so this
But did they fall? I mean, I told you someone in them Loomis robes was taken away. If someone has a hostage kept as a bargaining chip, well, raised by wolves might be a way to describe it. They take that one and get them to bend to their will, and then House Loomis does whatever the Chandei Quorum wants them to do. I believe that's how hostage negotiations work in this land.
Yes, it does. But that still begs the question, how will everybody else react to this? And is this something that everybody knows of?
Karina, do you want to seek help, or do you want to lie low? Do you think that you might be a target, or do you think, they weren't looking for you?
They weren't looking for me. I think at this point, the only possible thing for me to do is to go to one of the other larger houses and see how they're reacting.
But you could always pull that fun little magic trick you did last night. You pulled off that little tiefling boy very convincingly.
Yeah, well, you do study some things at university.
Always
Hmm.
deflecting. Always deflecting.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for helping me so far. I think my path right now is going to be to go to the House of Tishi and see if any of my old connections are aware of what has happened and how they're going to react to it.
You're going to the Treshy house? That's where I want to go too.
Oh,
That's
okay.
where your mentor said she had seen that picture of my sister. I would go with you.
Oh, perfect. Then let's hope that they haven't fallen too.
Before we go, I mean, you do have to consider just because the Ivory Syndicate was involved doesn't mean the other houses weren't behind this as well. What if Treshy wanted to make a move?
It is the reason I am going to them. They are
Hey,
smart.
Rusty, you down to continue on this trail with the Miss Corinna here and Melody?
The other three have not raised my ire, and I would assume requires some defense.
Actually, we can resume some of what we have started. I can pay you guys to be my bodyguards if that seems like something that you are able to do.
As long as it pays.
That sounds like fun.
Just call me a medic, not a bodyguard, please.
Medic, kill him, please.
You guys
So
finish. Go ahead.
Sorry, Charlie wants to play. He's stole one of my earbuds, so I guess he's in on this.
Oh,
It's that damn crow. That's what it is.
It's that damn crow. You guys wrap up the meal and kind of say your goodbyes to the Dawnfather Temple. You end up back out in the busy streets of the city. And where would you like to go to next?
Is there a way for us to go into the House of Treshy under disguise?
I'm going to take a guess and say that's going to be pretty hard for me.
Currently in the Lantern Spire, you would have to find your way back over to the Core Spire, back up to the heights of the Core Spire, and be in where all the different noble houses and estates are, just below where the Chandei Quorum's administrative structures are. Everybody give me perception checks as you kind of quickly gauge the crowds of the streets and the overall mood of the immediate area.
I got a 7.
21.
17.
Nice.
I think it's a... Come on, Charles. That is a 6.
6.
Come on.
11.
11.
Come on, Charles.
For Forn and Eritrea, the streets are surprisingly quiet. People are going about their business. A small group of Jrusar Wardens kind of casually march on by their normal patrol schedule within the Lantern Spire. You can hear the hagglers and the hecklers and the ongoing trades at the open-air markets on either side of the street. As you guys spill out of the estate or the Dawn Father Gardens and into more of the busier streets, far as you can tell, nothing seems to have changed. The mood of the street seems relatively calm. People aren't behaving too erratically. There's no sign of extra wardens on the street. Nothing too nefarious appears to be concerning the Lantern Spire at this point. You look up in the sky, you can see the gondolas are traversing their normal cables and moving about between all the other spires off in the distance. The one thing that you begin to kind of take notice of, however, is you see one of the larger airships kind of just arriving over on the Ares Spire, which is across and away past the core spire. Eventually, you lose sight of it as it dips behind the core spire, and probably would dock at the docking position of the Airy Spire at the skyport.
It is awfully normal today, given the events of the previous night. Like, as we're shuffling along, I'm just going to mention that to the group.
Does the airship has any symbol on it, colors, anything to indicate who it might belong to?
Yeah, give me a history check.
I am rolling terrible today. This is a natural 1 and a 6 overall.
Yeah, and you're not entirely sure. It had some kind of symbol, but didn't look familiar to you.
Man, sleeping on those terrible beds really took a toll on my brain.
Sure.
Can I also do a check on if I have any connections at Trashy that I can kind of count on a little bit?
You don't need to make a check on that one. You have no contacts at House Trashy. Very difficult to get onto their estate. Their House Trashy is more about money, investment, promoting merchant guild houses. They are, whereas House Loomis is all about the collection of information, knowledge, and artistry. House Trashy is all about finance and the banking of groups and organizations. They are notoriously insular. They do not allow strangers in. The only way you could gain an audience is if you were to be sponsored by someone who would give you an opportunity to gain entrance into House Trashy.
You know, I do have a contact on the Airy Spire that could perhaps have some insights as to what House Trashy may be up to. He does do a lot of trading and sales of unique animals. With that said, though, can't guarantee his information is accurate or up to date, but it may be the best lead we have thus far.
Lead the way.
Well, off to the Airy Spire we go.
And which contact was that?
That was the one you gave me last time. It was Quorum Stoneclaw, the Goliath Beast Trainer.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Beast Trainer.
Smuggles beasts.
You guys make your way through the roadways to the edge of the Lantern Spire. Here, one of the gondolas kind of angles down a little bit deeper to transfer you to another gondola that'll take you past the core spire and eventually into the midsection of the Airy Spire. As you pay the 2 silver or the 1 silver for the toll, you all gather in the gondola. It's crowded with the morning shifts of people that do the various jobs to keep the spires functioning. Whether you're, a sewer rat who is designed to maintain the quality of the sewage within the spires. If you're a lantern keeper, where you keep all the lanterns that light up the different parts of the spire. Many people are covered in the soot of the overnight shifts of working in the smolder spire, where a lot of the more industrial section and blacksmithing and other activity goes on. What's everybody's passive perception? Melody, what's yours?
12.
Okay. Karina?
12.
Eritrea, what's your passive perception?
12.
Okay. Foreign?
16.
Okay. A Traumaton?
10.
Ooh. Foreign, crowds like this always kind of make you a little bit uncomfortable. And you can already see one of the street urchins of the city doing their act. One of them pretends to ask for help and kind of like distracts them, while the other one just kind of quickly reaches into an exposed pocket or an exposed bag and pulls out a few coin. As the gondola approaches the core spire, you watch as the kids quickly sprint off the gondola and disappear into the crowd. The gondola then takes on new passengers. One in particular passenger is quite overwhelming to see. This very large kind of bugbear, maybe 7 feet tall. When he gets onto the gondola actually kind of creaks a bit under his size. He's wearing mercenary armor. On his back, a massive 2-handed halberd that's strapped to his back in such a way that ease of use. He could get to it if he needs to. His giant yellow eyes and his whole demeanor just kind of causes the crowd of the gondola to kind of like immediately get out of his way. He ends up leaning against the interior of the gondola as you feel the gondola separate and start going over towards the Airy Spire.
I'll approach him and start to strike up a communication in Sylvan, just being Fae, being from the Fae, and having some connection to a bugbear. Oh, good to see you around here.
Strange, I don't recall inviting you over for a conversation.
Oh,
Pink
no,
skin.
but I can't help the color of my skin, friend. I am what I am. But have you made travels back to the Fae recently? I know they've been trying to rebuild.
Listen, normally I just rip off your wings and drop you over the edge. I don't like your kind. I don't like your type. Mind your own P's and Q's, if you would.
And
Wow,
he kind of like doesn't shove you, but purposely kind of like does that shoulder bump thing when he kind of just chooses to ignore you and shift over to the other side of the gondola. Everybody else feels the gondola kind of like lean slightly to the right.
When he does that, can I try and drop one of my tokens into his pocket or into like
Give me a sleight of
opening?
hand. Go for it.
All right.
Yeah.
Nope, that's a 6.
You hear it clatter on the ground as it misses the pocket.
Oh,
Can Trauma kind of wants to just turn his head and look at the bugbear.
Say that again. You cut out.
Sorry. Trauma wants to just kind of turn his head to kind of follow the bugbear, and without pointing, without kind of doing anything, just have me like, I like you. Just a well-constructed unit, and just try to like put out a clawed hand for like a what he would he's trying to mimic like a respectful handshake between colleagues, and trying to maybe pass off one of I keep wanting to say one of Thorn's tokens that they had on him.
The bugbear looks down at you, confused.
Looks like I'm the same height as him. I'm 7 feet tall.
Well, I guess you'd be the same height. He looks at you confused. Oi, whose lunchbox is this? And why are you talking to me? I'm just trying to get over to the Airy Spire, and suddenly everybody starts talking to me. You watch as he kind of undoes his halberd and kind of rests it in his hands. I'll make the people not understand minding one's own business. Mind it. Leave
when he
me
pulls
be.
the halberd out, I like pull my coat back, exposing my pistol.
And when you're done with that, can I give it to me daughter? Your little squirt gun there. Yeah.
Would you like to try it out?
Try it out
Try
for
it
what
just for-
purpose? You watch as the crowd is now beginning to kind of like, the gondola is pretty like tight, and they're beginning to kind of like move out of the way. People are like looking over at Thorn and Automatron and looking at this huge bugbear. They've kind of caused the crowd to kind of move away from them. And he's just kind of holding the halberd.
It's your move, friend.
Is it? Listen, perhaps we got off on the wrong foot. You guys watch in a blur as the Bugbear's changing the pace of the conversation, the halberd goes just flying in Foreign's direction. Foreign, when it hits you with the flat of the blade, and the armature that holds the blade kind of slams into you as well. You feel the wind just kind of get knocked out of your chest, and it knocks you prone onto the ground. And then you watch as the halberd kind of swings around other people's heads, and he takes it and grabs it back.
I'm not going to ask again. Mind your manners.
And just at that moment, the gondola strikes the platform. The gondola driver quickly throws open the gate. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here, please. If you would kindly exit and make room for the other passengers that wish to use the gondola. You watch as the Bugbear just grins, looks around, and just strolls off the gondola onto the platform.
So, I think Trauma kind of wants to block his path real quick and just kind of be like, I appreciate your methods, but if anyone is killing that backwater idiot unit, it will be me.
Let's do a group session where
Please don't allow me to stop you. And he just walks right past you.
So I think we need to make sure everybody has the correct definition of keeping a low profile.
What, is this your first time in Jrusar?
No, which is why I know not to do what you just did.
Look, I don't know how you core spire types handle things, but down here, everywhere else in Jrusar, this is fairly normal, fairly routine, dare I say.
It's not.
I'll look over at Trauma like
Not having it.
It's really not.
Trauma just kind of looks at you, just kind of like,
I mean,
if this is how you
throw me out of
this
bar,
is how
like,
you
nah.
normally deal in this situation. How have you survived to adulthood?
I'm shifty.
I'm
Now that you
aware
guys
of your
are
character
on-
flaws.
Now that you guys are on the platform of the Ivory Spire, there's a much clearer view of the airship in the background. It's tethered to one of the huge stanchions that runs a cable out to it, and it's just hovering over the skyport. All around you on this level is the Ascension's Rise. There's a gondola lift that can take you up to the higher points of the Ivory Spire, but the Ascension's Rise is where a lot of the other institutions and businesses and other markets kind of exist here on the Ivory Spire. You recognize the area per usual, Foreign. In fact, you can always smell the gentle wafting flavor of like barnyard animal and that market-like smell of an open air market. And before long, you're kind of walking away from the platform and into the markets themselves. Hawkers and wares here are a little bit different. Well, over on the Lantern Spire, they seem to be trading in goods of specific manufacture. Here, everything's exotic, like spices and tailored clothing and animals and strange objects and jewelry. Things that maybe would be more interesting to people coming and going from the skyport.
They've got other kind of avian creatures here if you would like to get a replacement for that necrotic, fetid bird that follows you around everywhere we go.
Stop being mean to my master's pet. It is a sweet and kind bird.
Well, now, is it your master's pet or is it your pet? If it's your master's pet, you know you can part with it at any moment. You can get your own here. It won't stink.
Karina, I have a couple of like little ribbons. Do you want to like tie a couple of those on the crow? Maybe just like make it a little cuter. It's like
You know what? We can do a makeover session later today.
fun.
You're putting lipstick on a bugbear now.
Put a lipstick on a bugbear. Rude.
Speaking of Melody, have you been to this area before? I know you mentioned you've been looking for your sister, and not to go to a worst case scenario place, but I'm sure you know the value of satyrs and certain markets.
Yes, Soon's temple is on this spire, so I've been staying there when I'm not crashing at the Temple of the Dawnfather. And that's the first place I checked for, but haven't really had any luck finding her since then. This lead with the Treshes is the first thing I've heard, which is kind of weird, because satyrs seem to make an impression around here.
She's not French, is she? I hear some people like to paint French girls.
The fourth wall has utterly been obliterated. Utterly disintegrates in a single statement.
You know, you take the chance when you get it, right?
I mean, to be fair, I did just start up with the Windows 95 activation noise. So.
Yeah, that's completely unfair and fair.
The name of the airship was the Titanic.
You got it for me. The heart of the ocean. the old ladies through.
See two people up on the prow of the ship. It's like an orc and a dwarf. A bard is playing a familiar melody.
Charlie, I don't want to clip your nails on cam, but if you insist on being up here.
He's even on his back with his paws like up in your face. Like, can you paint them while you clip them? You know, Dad, could you?
It's like they know you're not a tabaxi anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is weird. They weren't nearly as. Now the puppers is in Air Trio's lap.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Charlie, you got company. You got competition, bud.
It's a dog.
Well,
No
now.
such thing.
Well, now you follow your nose, and we'll get us where we're going. You know, Stonewall's a good fellow, but I tell you, his location is very easily sussed out.
Melody, we're gonna need to give a reason of why we're looking for Trashy, and I don't know if we want to reveal everything we know about Loomis at this point. Because you had your own reasons, would you be okay if we presented them as our primary reasons for getting there? I think Trashy would be very willing to open their doors to you. And so, if that's okay with you, we could try to kind of mingle our goals on this.
That's totally fine with me. You know, I have no beef with the Treshies, so I don't know why they'd have a problem seeing me.
My, Corinna's so quick with the bargaining chip, trying to offer up one of our compatriots as a hostage already.
Not what I was thinking, but it's good to know where your mind's at.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, we know that her sister was being painted. We know that trafficking in strange and unusual artifacts and species is fairly commonplace around here. I mean, it's hard not to draw the line.
If we were going to go there anyway, and if Melody is going to go there anyway, and if she's comfortable with it, then I can offer every protection I'm capable of to help her, although she seems very capable.
You do come from a major house. It wouldn't be unusual for you to offer up another sentient being.
It would be, for us at least.
Do we think that I know there are like underground criminal networks, but do we think like a house like the Treshies is trading in people?
To be honest, it has crossed my mind that if a picture of your sister has appeared there and she has not been seen since, the Treshies are not known for being super considerate about their income sources. Let's say they are known for a lot of trade, which is, if nothing else, why this lead might be helpful in finding her. Somebody there probably knows something about someone would be interested in purchasing a satyr.
But if they see my face, then are they just gonna lie to me?
And even if they lie to you, they would probably let you through the gates. Although we can find other ways in as well if you're not comfortable with this.
Don't your type normally have a helm?
Paladins?
Yeah.
No, that would mess up my hair.
We're always talking about helm this, helm that. I thought you had the helm with you at all times. I'm sorry.
I think you've caked enough makeup on your face that you won't be recognizable to most people.
Whoa! Excuse you.
Lots of shade in the Airy Spire. Lots of shade.
I got the gun, but those were shots fired.
I am not.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have found these lovely beasts out on the Rumadum Desert. These shale raptors. If you wouldn't mind coming. Oh, hello, Fawn.
Stoneclaw, how are you?
I think I'm not good now that you're here. What's up? If you're here, that usually means you either have something to sell that I don't want, or you're in trouble.
Something to
What
sell
is
it. Come now, Stoneclaw. Something to sell you don't want. Look at the state of these raptors.
Or they're not in a state. They're in Jrusar. What are you talking about?
Oh, my friend. I'm here to talk business. You got a moment we can step inside?
Inside what? I'm an open air market, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, behind the curtain, friend.
Curtain? You think I can afford curtains? Vaughn, I do miss you. You're so clever. So clever. Yeah, this is good as any. What do you want? What are you selling?
I'm going to kind of ease out of the way and make Melody noticeable.
What the fuck? Satyr. There hasn't been a satyr in Marquet in some time. I mean, the horns alone are worth. All right, how much you want for her? I'll take her.
I'm going to glance over at Corinna and be like, see, I told you so kind of face.
What's told you so? I said the same thing. I was in on it.
She's not for sale, but...
Of course not. That'd be against the rules. But I'm just saying.
I understand. You said there haven't been satyr around here in some time, but I just came across someone yesterday talking about they'd seen someone look an awful lot like my friend here in a painting with House Treshy.
Starts kind of grinding in his jaw. Give me a persuasion check, if you would, please, Foreign.
Certainly. Oh, man, I miss being a bard. It's not terrible, though. 9.
I'll be honest with you, Foreign. This is the first time I've heard or seen of a satyr in Marquet in some time, not since the Fae has become very unreliable and absent these days.
Wouldn't I know?
Besides, I don't really have much trust with House Treshy. Got no cause to be in business with them. Their gold is shiny, but their words are crooked.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Oh, hello. My name is Stoneclaw. What be your name, fine young lady?
Corinna, and can I cast Charm, please?
Yeah, wisdom save?
14.
That's going to be a 11 plus 1 is a 12.
Yay.
And then he just kind of goes really docile. Oh, hello, my friend. I haven't seen you for quite some time. What can old Corin do for you?
Corin, thank God we found you. We need help.
You know, I joke. I kid. Sorry. Yes.
My good friend Melody needs help finding her dear sister.
Oh,
And we thought, who could help us more than you?
I don't know. Who could help you more than me? That's a good question.
Well, with your connections with Treshy.
I don't like dealing with them.
They're bad
No.
people.
What makes them so bad?
The merchants they support, the guild halls that they support, aren't quite my cup of grog, if you get my meaning. I don't really want to lie to you. I don't feel like I should lie to you. But
She bats
I'm
her eyes.
just, yeah, I'm just saying, they're not people that I like to deal with. They are they could get you in trouble. They could
What
definitely
kind
get
of
you.
trouble?
Well, he looks around. Look, you didn't hear this from me, but recently, a member of House Treshy was beginning to open up a strange business over in the Smolder Spire. I was commissioned to order some camels for them. They said that they needed them for traversing a caravan or a large supply of goods coming in from the Rumodan Desert and through the Hellcatch Valley. Don't get me wrong. I could have made a lot of money off them camels selling them to Treshies. But there's always a funny little caveat to what they want. And sure enough, I went to go meet this fella. Tall fella. Kind of skinny. White goatee beard, scar on the side of his face. He was wearing House Treshy vestments. He had their chevrons on. I met with him, and as soon as we started negotiating, he wanted half the price. He wanted double the number, and I was like, "Fuck you, mate! I'm out of here." And then I left.
Oh, wow. That sounds like quite a shady character. Do you know anything else about him?
No. He gave me his name. He used the name Aquion was his name. Aquion Slater, I believe.
Can't say that. Well, thank you for looking out for us. Have you had any other interactions with the House of Treshy or any of the other big houses as of recent?
No, not particularly. I sell horses to the Chandei Quorum. I sell horses to the Wardens as well. From time to time, I've even been known to sell rare exotics to House Loomis. I try to deal all of them equally, but with that run-in with House Treshy, I tend to avoid them now.
Wow, the Chandei Quorum. That's a really big gig. When is the last time you've spoken to one of the representatives?
I don't talk to their people. I talk to their couriers or their pages that come to do business with me. You know, the council never comes down from on high to talk to us regular folk.
Yeah. And I look around to see if there is anything I want from his
Yeah, give me a perception check.
I will definitely point at the prettiest birds around.
No, I like my bird, okay? I don't care that it's ugly. Oh my god, it was almost a natural 20 and then it was a 4. I'm so mad. Oh, actually, I have inspiration. Can I add inspiration to it? Okay, that's an 8. That's slightly better. Oh.
Here's one.
Woo.
Just where I
Wait.
can't.
Your voice went crazy.
Yeah. I think
Is it
might-
better now?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the bug just came back at that particular moment. My microphone went mute. I had to unmute it and then reassign the default microphone. Lots of fun. No idea where this bug is coming from, and it's got to be the Windows patch, and it's very frustrating. There's a little bamboo cage, very small. You could see that it contains what you know to be a fire beetle. Maybe 18 inches long, 6 inches wide. But fire beetles have this amazing kind of marbling of red, yellows, and oranges. They are naturally immune to fire. Hence, they get their term fire beetle. And they can spit a very caustic acid as a defense mechanism. But they're very known and well known for getting into tight and small spaces. If this one appears to be quite docile and seems to be trained, it definitely catches your eye.
Oh, wow, that's so pretty. Can I have this?
Oh, I was holding it just for you, sweetie. Here you go. He hands it over. It's always good to see you. Come back sometime and don't be a stranger.
Thank you. And if you could not mention to anyone that you've seen our friend Melody, or any of us for that matter. She's very private.
He leans down. Mum's the word. I gotcha. I understand.
Always wonderful to see you. And she walks back.
Where do
Well,
you guys?
you're certainly much better at talking to him than I am.
It helps being polite.
Polite. I thought it was the looks. I'm sorry.
Well, that doesn't hurt either.
Well, we were talking the other night, and Trauma mentioned he may have a merchant friend of his as well that could have some information. Perhaps we go call in on the Lantern Spire, unless you would like to hit some other spot here on the Ares Spire before we go.
Melody, do you have any connections on the Ares Spire?
I mean, the temple where I stay is here, but that's pretty much it. Are the Treshies here, or are they in the Core Spire?
They'd be in the Core Spire.
Okay.
So yeah, just to confirm, are you okay with being bait or not?
So
It's better
I presumably didn't hear any of that conversation, right?
Oh, I mean, you were standing there.
Oh, you're standing there, yeah.
Oh, I was just standing there, and he was
Yeah.
like, "How much will you sell a satyr for?"
Yeah.
What?
And that's also why I turned and I was like, see, I told you so.
Oh, I thought you were talking to
me.
Karina.
Why to me?
Well, I was talking to Karina, but it
To
was
make
that
a
very
point.
much, you see a wealthy looking person come walking down in the lower spires and in the markets and everything like this. And of course, everyone suspects they've got someone to sell.
I
So-
don't know. Having heard that, I don't know if it's a good idea. It seems like that seemed like a really bad guy, and he even thought the Treshies were even worse. Like if I walk
Oh,
in,
yeah.
I don't know if I walk
Stoneclaw-
out.
I tell you, Stoneclaw's not a bad guy.
Oh no, he's
Misguided
he's
at times.
just he's trading in people, so seems like a pretty bad dude.
He's a merchant.
What
He just wanted your horns.
What if I cast the spell from yesterday that allowed me to turn into the Tiefling to turn into you, and I can act as the bait, but I will still kind of use your likeness to do so.
That seems pretty dangerous for you, though, right?
I have my way of getting out of things, and worst come to worst, nothing's going to happen to me if they take my horns.
I still think it might be painful.
I can do pain. I mean, I can't see a better way
The way
to...
she said that, I mean,
Right?
I don't think anyone needs to make an insight check on that one.
Horn is immediately uncomfortable.
You don't know. You don't want to know what they do in the House of Loomis. All the tragic rich people. It's always worse than you imagine.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, I don't want you to go in alone. But if you guys think this is safe, I think we should go in with some kind of plan. Like if we just go in and they lie to us, we won't have learned anything.
Trauma is your... I'm sorry, I did not mean to call you by your name, but it happens. Is your contact trustworthy? You're muted.
Compared to
Compared to our friend
It's
Corinna
a
here.
giant warforge, just like compared to what?
Compared
Just
to our friend
staring,
Renee
staring
here.
daggers at Thorn, just like.
If looks could kill, I know.
I do need that upgrade. A classy companion wouldn't point it out. But my contact
as far
is
as you know, Ilthrin is someone that you've gone to from time to time for their particular skills at doing minor repairs and helping you kind of eke through some of your more challenging times when your physicality or your form is suffering from problems.
Yeah, I just want to communicate that. You know, Ithrin is as trustworthy as any I have dealt with in my experience.
You see, ladies, trustworthy. What say you, bird boy?
Well, I'm under the impression we just need more information, so I would tend to want to go to Mr. Trauma's contact.
Oh, you hear that, Trauma? He called you Mister.
Please, just Trauma. Mr. Trauma is the
Is my father's name.
yeah.
Mr. Trauma is
I
the
was trying-
source code.
Yeah, I couldn't get it out, but it was going to be like the manufacturing consortium that assembled me. It's been a rough couple of weekends. I can't word.
Well, I suppose off we go then. It was a short time here in the Airy Spire.
I thought my guy was in the Air Spider as well. Or no,
I believe he's on the Lantern Spire.
you may be right. Give me that. I got that.
That's my notes.
Yeah, you're right. I got him on Lantern Spider.
At
You're
the
right.
Curious Curio.
Yeah, the Curious Curio.
Does the House of Loomis has any representation in the Chandei Quorum, or like anybody outside of the House of Loomis that would still be out in the world?
Not that you know of. All your contacts are pretty much rooted in the House Loomis estate. The matriarch of House Loomis would deal directly with the Chandei Quorum if she wanted to force through a council discussion or begin the discussion over something that might be important to them.
Would there be anyone in the House of Loomis that I just happen to know might have not been there that night, was out for any reason?
Just the head matriarch, as far as you know.
Okay. I'll keep my eyes peeled then.
So you guys heading back over to the Lantern Spire?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's take our 5-minute break, and then when we come back, we will do the second half.
Right on. Mhm.
Get it right.
All the kitties want their turn.
Mm. Nothing like home cooking, though.
I take it you traveled to your parents for the 3-day weekend?
Oh yeah. Yep. Pass through Eric's stomping grounds on the way. The only way to get to my hometown is to go from Ohio to Kentucky to Indiana, back to Kentucky again.
Seems like a
Yep.
out of the way kind of up. That's kind of like flying from New York to Denver, and you have to make 4 stops. That's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. I passed through Cincinnati, then through Louisville, into Indiana, and then south from there down to Owensboro.
Man.
There's no good way to get there.
There's just getting there.
Mm-hmm.
You guys need a highway.
It's in the middle of all the highways. Like it's between all of them. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Crossroads of America.
Right. It's
Yeah.
it's highway down, and then it's highway over.
Yeah.
And then it's state highway down again.
Oh my god! I just realized, Ryan, you're wearing a Zelda shirt. I love that
Mhm.
shirt. One of my favorite games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Me too. One of my main hobbies is just watching people play mods of Ocarina of Time.
Nice.
Just watch.
Yeah, my favorite playthrough is watching the Rad Brad do his playthroughs. That he just does it perfectly. Like he barely talks, but he plays through. Like right now, I'm watching Star Wars Outlaws on his channel. Just because I'm always going to be that kind of Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Where I just love the overall lore. I've been really commiserating on the idea of starting up a Star Wars 5e table, and jump into that universe.
Uh-huh.
And I've got the 5e book for it. I've been reading up on it, and I built a whole like planetary system, and it's all built around the idea of smuggling and criminal, the Huttese and the Crimson Dawn are part of it. And I want to launch it so bad. I just don't know what day I want to do it.
Sounds like campaign 3 to me, but you know.
Have you read any of the Star Wars novels then?
Oh, I've read them all.
Yeah.
Like that's because the movies have not really been all that pleasant.
Mhm.
I shouldn't say pleasant. They haven't been all that fulfilling in Star Wars lore. Like it's like the closest one was the Mandalorian because I love Grogu. Grogu's standing there holding a cup of broth while that whole fight scene was going on around him was just so epic. That was like such a Star Wars Galaxy, because I used to play an MMO called Star Wars Galaxy way back in the day. And I just fell in love with the idea you could immerse yourself in that Star Wars lore. But the books were always my preferred way of getting into the lore because they were just so much better at the detail of the lore. So as you guys get on the gondola to head back over the Lantern Spire, once again, 2 trips. That'll be another silver out of your pocket to pay for the trip back over to the Lantern Spire. Once there, a Traumaton begins to lead you to a section of the Lantern Spire known as the Elder's Post, which is lower down on the Lantern Spire and kind of have to be a little bit creative to get to certain aspects of it. But you find yourself slightly lower than where the Weary Way Tavern would be. These 2 areas of the Lantern Spire kind of closer towards, like, now that it's daytime and you're at the low end of the Lantern Spire, you can see the vast Odorland wilds like all around you. The dense, heavy palm trees of the jungle wilds below you. Every now and then you can see something kind of fly up out in the distance and then kind of fly away off into the horizon. You can hear the jungle noises from below as well, kind of permeating up into the platform as the gondola kind of comes to a halt. You spill out on to the lower level, a Traumaton. You lead the group through some of the market area. Before long, you're standing out in front of a very kind of traditional looking curio shop. Nothing out of the ordinary, just a simple building structure kind of built into the side of the spire. A tall, thin looking man with white and silver hair immediately stops unpacking a box he was working on. A Traumaton? Is that you? Is everything okay? I didn't think we had an appointment today.
No appointment was set up in advance. I am here searching for information, perhaps some upgrades for myself and my companions.
Oh, your Oh, sorry for my rudeness. My name is Illithred. I'm a tinkerer, a kind of artificer of magic as well. Welcome to my shop. Please, come on in. Traumaton, your voice modulator is improving from the high-pitched modulation down to a more moderate. How are you liking the results so far?
Just kind of shrug.
Can a Warforged shrug?
I have shoulders. I feel emotions.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
Fully articulated.
Well, pleasure to meet all of you. So what seems to be the problem, Tomatron? What is going on?
We are trying to find information on on my companion Melody's sister. Have you had any information on any fawns passing through this area?
Well, it kind of takes a double take at Melody. Do you mean satyrs or? I mean,
Sorry, satyrs.
Oh, satyrs. Yes, of course. Not. not recently, but perhaps I know someone that can aid in the search of this person, your sister. Melody, you say your name. What does your sister look like? Does she look like you?
She looks a lot like me, a little bit shorter. Her hair is like not as like glossy and shiny as mine, but otherwise very similar.
Yes, your hair is quite glossy, very well kept. You're very pleasing to look at. Yes.
Yeah.
However, he kind of brushes by you and kind of stands in front of Eritrea. My. Traumaton, you travel with an Azamar now. You do meet the most interesting people. What is your name, good sir?
You can call me Eritrea, which is my name, in fact. So
I'm glad I'm allowed to call you your name. That's very nice of you. Automatron, you've met some rather interesting folk. And you, sir, with the hat and the pistol. What is your name?
No.
No, his name is No. Pleasure to meet you, No.
Fawn. Pleasure to meet you, sir.
Fawn. Sorry about that. And the young lady with the very skeptical look on her face. What is your name?
Karina.
Oh, Karina, pleasure to meet you as well. Where was your sister last seen, Melody?
Well, the last lead that I have is that it sounds like she had a portrait done, maybe with the Trashies, or that the Trashies have, but that's really all that I've heard.
Fascinating. Portrait. That kind of makes sense. Some of the artistry guilds that are known for their excellent works of art, and he looks around, reaches behind a series of crates, pulls out a fine painting of a Luxodon, kind of dressed in full battle armor. You can see this huge warhorse behind it, and this kind of the jungle scape beyond the Luxodon. I acquired this from one of their many opportunities that they presented their artwork maybe a month or two ago. I believe there's another auction going on very soon, if not this evening, perhaps tomorrow evening, I believe.
That the painting is beautiful. The Trashies run the auction, or an art guild?
An art guild runs the auction. I believe they call themselves the Grey Makers.
The Grey Makers.
The Grey Makers, I have worked with them before. They are interesting folk. A group of gnomes that had come from a place in Wildmont. I believe Rexentrum is where they originated from. They settled shop here, I believe, just slightly down the way from where I am. From time to time, I work with them, and we do exchanges. Sometimes they desire their paintings to have a bit of a magical flash, like this. And you watch as he kind of runs his hand over the front of the painting. The Luxodon, kind of in a 3D illusionary effect, kind of like flourishes its trunk and kind of bows. The horse kind of paws at the ground, and then he repeats it and then repeats it. Sometimes artwork can be improved, I think, through magic.
That's incredible. The auction, is it like, invite only, or can anyone join?
Oh, give me a moment. You watch as he walks over to a small copper box. He pulls out pulls out 5 cards and hands all 5 of the cards over to you. Just present this at the auction door. This will get you in an opportunity to bid or purchase.
Oh, incredible.
There's a slight little gnome person. She goes by the name of Gretch. Talk to her. She will have just mention my name, and Gretch will gladly facilitate your needs.
Where did you say this auction's going to take place?
Oh, it should be down by the beginning of the market areas down the way there. It's a bit of a warehouse-looking structure building, recently constructed. You'll see the Greymaker's mark. It's a paintbrush as well as a blooming sun behind it. And you'll see signs of their artwork hanging about. They have a bit of a studio. The warehouse you can go into during the auction itself as they auction off these paintings. Automaton, may I take a look at you quickly, as long as you're here?
Of course.
You know, I really wish you'd let me fix that dent in your head. You know, it can be repaired if you choose to.
Just sorry. Shows character.
You say that every time, but I think it might also help explain some of your more your idiosyncratic behavior.
I will say he did something crazy yesterday. We walked out and his voice changed to some very prim, proper. I don't really know how to describe it, but it was very, very odd indeed.
Deception protocol was engaged.
You watch as Ilthrin checks on certain components on a Traumaton, checks the dent in the top of the head, has to climb up to a scaffolding ladder to kind of look into some of the other armor panelings as well. Climbs back down. Well,
while we're here, you do seem to have some knowledge of mechanical items and things. You wouldn't happen to know of many famous artificers around Jrusar, would you?
Well, I'm almost offended. I dabble in artificer work. What are you looking to accomplish?
Just a name has come across my path, let's say, recently. And I'm just curious as to whether you may help me put a face with a name. The name, I believe, is Regina Green.
He looks at you for a moment. Where did you hear that name?
I may have come across some of her effects. Would be nice.
Looks at his empty shop, looks at all of you. He rushes over to his door and he shuts it, quickly locks it, and then turns the sign around that says closed. Where did you...
Well,
this name, Regina Green. Are you sure this is your person of interest that you're mentioning? Think very cautiously about this. She is a very, very dangerous woman. Very dangerous.
Well, you have a book, don't you, Corinna?
Yes, I do. And I pull out not the bag, but just the notebook with her signature. We haven't actually had a chance to look through everything that she has yet. We should probably do that at some point.
Elthorn sees you pull out the book. May I see that for a moment?
I'm going to be watching him very closely to just try to make sure he's not pulling anything past us.
He holds onto the book. His eyes are wide open, but there's a flare of magic in his eyes. And my gods, this is hers. Has she been following you? Have you seen her? Have you dealt with her directly? I don't understand. How did you get these things?
We have dealt with a mimic she had left that had killed somebody else.
Oh, my gods. She is here. He goes over to the window. He closes the curtains. Okay. Take just what I need. Get my bag. You watch as he goes over to a chest of drawers, opens up drawers, starts putting clothes into a bag.
Well, now, just a moment there. What has got your knickers in such a twist?
Look, I don't know if you know who she is, but I know who she is. She is one of the most scary murderers, assassins that I've ever come across in my time. If she's here, then there are plans afoot, either to take out competition Oh my God, just got this shop open a year ago. This is terrible. He goes back to like throwing drawers open, stuffing things into a bag.
Well, now, assassin, you say?
Yes, a guild's assassin. Her price is quite high, and normally when she's brought in for the purpose of taking out competition. Depending on who hires her, do you know who hired her? Did you find any evidence of who hired her?
I'll pull out the crumpled note. This was the first evidence we found.
What is this?
It was like the corner of the note. It had something about like wait here. Hang on, I gotta find the note. I wrote it down somewhere. It's that guy's. Oh. Let's see, Trevina Talim. No, that was after that. There it is. There's that.
A note to retrieve something from a footlocker.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, this was intended for her victim. She does that. She pretends to be somebody, then traps them with a sense of something or purpose that they have to get. There's rarely ever a body discovered, and her mimic creatures that she uses. Sometimes she uses door mimics, sometimes chest mimics, and rug. Oh, the worst of the carpets, the rugs, the throw rugs. Oh God, what a way to go! You stand on your carpet and it just consumes your body. Okay, but why would she be here? Who's she after? Just kind
well,
of.
I will say there was some very high quality, very expensive objects found left in the room that we assumed she was in possession of. But hearing your description now, I'm not so sure they were hers to begin with. Sounds like she may have been retrieving them for somebody.
Were they finely cut to the point of use in magical items?
And very small. Actually, I have a vial of this.
He just lets out a deep breath of release.
I have this vial of gluey material as well that was found under the floorboards of the same room.
Yes, I am familiar with this. Huh. Whew. Lucky for me. Not after me. I know the works of a particular fire genasi who has residence over in the Smolder Spire. She is very adept at making fine gems and fine cuts of gems. That would be her work. I would recognize it by description. This adhesive would be her work as well. She goes by the name of Sarai Embervale. She is over in the Smolder Spire. She doesn't necessarily run a shop. She runs an underground area within the Smolder Spire that you have to find her, locate her, to ask her for the work that she'd like to have done.
Really? A fire genasi. So many genasi here as of late.
Well, there are rumors that due to troubles and concerns in the outside world, that Jrusar has become surprisingly stable, safe within the last 10 or 15 years. The Chandei Quorum is not quite as ruthless as it used to be, and for now, the noble households seem to be content with what they have. No rumors abating of criminal activity other than what is reasonably allowed by the Wardens.
We do have some other objects that we retrieved from the person who was unfortunately killed. It's possible that with your training, you might be able to see more to it than we have been able to.
I can certainly try. What other items do you have?
We have the backpack that we haven't really looked inside, I think we did like a very quick search through it.
Right.
And and it had a map of a location, I believe. I don't remember what else was inside, but we did have the bag that he had with him.
Well, allow me to take a moment to look at what you have. He kind of dumps the contents of the bag out on top of the counter behind that he's standing. Interesting. Map. Climbing gear. Whoever this came from is someone who is very adept at climbing. This map, I recognize some of the markings on this map. This is an area lower down in the Smolder Spire, at the point where the canopy of the jungle meets the lowest section of the Smolder Spire, just at the very bottom of the Elder Post. This would indicate that whoever this person was came directly from the Odorland wilds of the jungle canopy, made their way up the Elder's Post. I wonder what he or they were doing for her. Just kind of looks like he's lost in thought.
You said Regina's an assassin. How does she take her victims? Is it only through the mimics, or does she use poisons of some kind as well?
She sticks to magic. Usually, if ever, a body is never found. They simply disappear.
Well, that's some comfort. We know at least that she wasn't the one behind our other two friends' demise.
What other two friends' demise? What are you speaking of?
Just a couple of people from the Hubatt Corsairs that we were accompanying to deliver said precious objects to House Loomis.
Why would the Hubatt Corsairs or the House Loomis have anything to do with her? That would be very dangerous. Why would they do that?
Well, see, we're only now just coming upon knowing just who Regina Green is. I do say, though, as we were delivering these objects, it was not long after we arrived and tried to begin arrest that we were come upon.
By...
Well, there was a tiefling and a bunch of... the best way I could describe them is assassins. They all had masks up on their faces, but several, about 10 of them come in the room where we were, and
Where
did
were
a number on us. We were in House Loomis, of course. It's what I said.
I was just I'd send one of my pages there just this morning to deliver some items of parchments, inks, wells, and other materials that they need for scribe as well as scroll making there. The page came back with no immediate concern. In fact, no sign of any problems or challenges. They seem to be there going about their daily business.
Very interesting indeed.
What is your next shipment to House Lupus?
Oh, well, I've got some opals and some gear work coming in within the next couple of days. Hoping to try some of it out on a Traumaton to see if it enhances his ability to see and move his arms. When the page came back, I was very surprised to hear that the Alondra Loomis had requested some clockwork components.
Interesting.
It's
Would
not-
you mind terribly if I deliver them for you?
Give me a persuasion check, Karina. Or it's like that look that Tally gets on her face.
Let's see.
She is so
Okay.
persuasive.
I used my charm too early, but that's 15.
15? Well, if you come see me in 2 days, I should have the shipment. I'm more than happy to save any matter of time. Of course, I will have it packaged up and you can deliver it for me.
Thank you. I have some friends there. I haven't seen them in a while. It will be good to have an excuse to visit.
Of course, I understand. Of course.
You're a very sly one indeed, Corinna.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Certainly, certainly.
And if I could just ask your page a few questions if he happens to be in the area sometime.
She should be back tomorrow. If you stop by, I don't see why you can't ask her questions then, if you'd like. Who knows? I might even get the shipments early.
Ah, wonderful. Thank you.
Of course, of course. Anything else that I can help with? I do sell things, of course.
Is he more or less finished with working on me, or?
Yeah, he climbs down this, like, he was kind of talking and working on you at the same time. He comes off the scaffolding to kind of wipe his hands off on a nearby greasy rag, and yeah, that should help a bit. I took out some. You've been in a bit of a fight recently at Traumaton.
Yes, you noticed that, did you? Oh, what have you done to my? This is not the program. The voice I had programmed.
Yeah, I made some tweaking.
We'll see how it goes. Do you happen to have any type of shields or bracers? The fight you mentioned, I was hit more than I really would have preferred. The little guy snuck up on me. You understand?
Of course.
Can you do something about this?
Actually,
can I reset this?
The voice. No, you'll. I've been modulating it. It was too high pitched before, and now it was too low pitched. So I remodulated it to more of a mid kind of set, like a little bit of a performance. You can alter it slightly if you choose to, like most of your components. Here, I made you this a Traumaton. You watch as he goes over, and you can hear him flip over a lid, and he lifts out this huge shield, and it's got these like magnetic strappings on the back with padded leather beltings. And give me one of your arms, Traumaton, if you would.
I detach my left arm.
That's not what I'm. You always do that. You take things way too literal. And he just put your arm back on and just hold it out for me.
Forgive me. I didn't know if you needed it detached. Click.
It's always so creepy that you can do that. Anyways, he kind of like puts the shield on, kind of straps it down, and it to you it's light. To anyone else, it looks like it would be pretty heavy. But it's a nice broad shield that covers a good portion of your body as you kind of like swing it around and practice moving it, keeping it like between you and a fictional attacker. You're kind of practicing with it. So you now have a large shield.
Large shield. Okay.
No cost to you as usual, Traumaton. I learned so much by working on you that I could never possibly charge you for things that I give you. Just be aware if you have any problems with it, bring it back so I can mend it and make sure it's of continuing good quality for you.
This is just out of character. I'm just going through there. There isn't. I'm not seeing a large shield, just small and tower shield. Is that what?
Tower shield. You can use tower shield for that.
Cool. All right. Just remember, it's like if you need anything, if any problems arise, feel free to call on me.
Of course. I've always appreciated your help in the past, and look forward to not needing your help, but now that there are things afoot out there, I'm glad that you reaffirmed that assistance. Thank you, Traumaton.
Always remember, I literally do not know where the bodies are buried. They have been removed from my long-term memory.
Yes. That was super creepy.
Oh, is that not you?
No, that wasn't me, Traumaton. That was not me. What have you been up to?
Throwing me through windows.
Oh, well, how unfortunate for the window.
Thank you. Now, your place is called Curious Curios.
Yes, of course.
I do have these trinkets here if you'd like to take one. I will tell you, the trinkets, should trauma come to any danger or any real trouble, I would be able to alert you ahead of time so you could prepare for our arrival.
Oh, thank you. Is that your hair that you're offering me?
It's braided very nicely, though.
But is it your hair?
Why, yes. Whose else
It
hair
is
would it
definitely curious. He kind of sets it in a little wooden box on the counter.
Well, since we are here, do you have any recommended new objects for prospective buyers?
I have accomplished some recent infusions. They're temporary, short-lived. You can only use them once, but they could help you solve certain problems that you might be into. I have stones of stealth with 1 charge. They gave you advantage on stealth. I have ventriloquism boxes, little metal boxes that you can record a quick 25-word phrase into the box and then allow it to trigger and create a distraction of sorts. I have, I just recently got these in from Humperduke. I have firecrackers for once. The string of firecrackers that you light with a flame, and they make these amazing popping noises. Very fun. I also have sparklers as well as eye charms. Eye charms are very nice, very fun. Eye charms can give you advantage on perception. You activate the charm, you set it somewhere, and for about a minute, within about 30 feet, you can see what's going on in secret places or small places. I get a lot of workers from the Smolder Spire that use these to hunt the rats that fester the warehouses and the places, the old buildings and old structures as well. Any of those sound interesting to you?
Yes. What are some of the prices?
Oh, they only have single use. The eye charms go for 5 gold. The firecrackers I can sell you a bundle of 10 uses for a gold. Let's see, the ventriloquism boxes go for about 10 gold. They're a neat little trick, but it takes a little extra effort. And then, of course, the stones of stealth. Just little polished stones you keep in your pocket. You put your hand around them and just utter the words, "Help me hide," give you advantage on stealth. Those go for 6 gold.
Nice. I will take 2 stones of stealth and 2 stones of insight and 1 firecracker.
I'm getting some firecrackers too. 10
Here you
uses for
go.
1 gold?
Yes, quite. Here you go. Here's a bundle with 10 uses for you. Be mindful, they, not to use their open flame without your.
Yeah.
Of course. Satyrs. I tell you, they are playful folk.
And do you have anything that might be useful for communication?
Oh, unfortunately, no. I'm still waiting for a shipment of marbles to for those particular infusements. I keep marbles of message. They have 1 enchantment of message on it. You can hold the marble in your hand and invoke it, but unfortunately, I have not recently made a batch. A strange gentleman about a week ago bought all I had.
What did he look like?
Oh, well, a tall fellow, white goatee-like beard, scar on the left side of his face. He had the Chandei Quorum vestments on. I assumed he worked for the Chandei Quorum, and that's how he knew of my place.
I don't know.
I'm all over again. This guy's everywhere.
Yeah,
Well,
he
this
gets
time in
around.
reverse. There's
Yes,
an actual
reverse man.
person. Yeah. Reverse man. This is an actual person you can trace.
Let us
Okay.
give you a warning
Yes.
free of charge. This man has been showing up in very bad places, each time wearing a different house's symbol or a different group's symbol.
You think he's a robber, a thief, a charlatan?
Worse.
I mean, his gold looked good. He spent almost 100 gold on the entire supply.
Speaking of gold,
He is associated with assassins, which, considering what you have told us, might connect him with some other people that you do not want to visit your doorstep.
Oh my. Thank you for the warning. If I see him again, I'll keep that in mind. Although he
His
didn't
warning
seem
was
to
free of
be
charge,
really-
but if you feel like giving us some stuff for free for it.
I tell you what, your friend Melody seemed to light up with the idea of fireworks. Here's a small crate of fireworks to take with you. for the information.
it's right.
Please don't set the fireworks anywhere near me. You know,
why?
I
What's wrong?
tend
Scoots
to
him
go up in
towards
spokes
Melody.
sometimes.
Are you?
Alright.
Are you? Do you blow up or do you? I'm sorry.
No,
or-
but my choice of weapon tends to emit fire here and there,
Oh,
and I'd
well,
rather
no-
not set them off by accident.
Well, as I was about to tell your Karina friend here, I don't think he plans on coming back. The reason why he was so eager to spend top money is he expects to take an airship journey to Rexingtrum in the next couple of days. In fact, I think I saw that ship come into port this morning when I was out unpacking my wares and preparing my shop to be open.
Huh.
You don't think he's connected to Regina, do you?
We have good reason to believe that.
There's no reason to say he's not.
Oh, yeah. Just aid in his possible assassination that he did at the House Loomis? Am I responsible for that? Did I? Oh dear. Oh dear.
Do you put your name on your items anywhere, such that
of
they will be
course,
traceable back to yourself?
there is a little CC emblem on everything that I make that lets you know that it came from the Curious Curio. I am always proud to sell my wares, but that's the first time I've ever. He kind of leans against the wall, a little bit short of breath. Oh my! I've always been told that doing business in Jrusar could be dangerous, but I've done very good at staying out of trouble.
It's
Well,
okay.
It
We're here
is?
to make it right. We will help you make it right.
Oh, how do you intend to do that? By killing people?
No, no,
that
that's
bald,
our
that
MO.
bald fuck, maybe.
Sorry? You're going to
first-
kill the man who bought. Please don't kill the man that bought from me. They're going to find things on his dead body. They're going to think I came back for it. This is going to get me in trouble. I mean, just no. He picks up
Yeah.
like a small cotton bag and he's like hyperventilating into it.
Don't worry, we're no killers. We're the good guys.
How in the Fae did you come up with such a friend, Trauma?
He does good work.
As he looks at you, as he looks down at you, Ford, with that huge dent still in his head.
You know, I could put a
It's-
magic
it's-
one on the other side if you want it.
So before we go,
Try.
I do want to know who is your contact in Loomis.
I don't really have a contact. We were asked to deliver the product directly to Alondra Loomis, the matriarch of the house.
How were you asked?
A message was sent to order the parts. When the package came in, I gave it to the page. The page delivered the package. The coin came back after delivery, of course.
Do you recall what the page looked like? And did the message come in mail or magically
It was flown to me by Eagle.
flown by Eagle? Is that normal for us?
Now that
Yeah,
sounds
it
like
would be. Yeah, your House Loomis uses a eagle rookery and not a raven rookery. A lot of people tend to use ravens and pigeons in their rookery as a way to send simple messages throughout the spire.
But House Loomis uses eagles because they can defend themselves better.
Is a bird worthy of companionship there?
Yeah. Does the description of the page ring a bell at all?
Well, it's his page. It's the small page that he used his own page to deliver the product once it was ordered.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's. Have you sold a lot to Loomis in the past?
Well, come to think of it, the regular items that I would sell or send to House Loomis, inkwells, parchments, quills, empty journals, canvases, artistry tools, research tools, alchemy supplies, things that normally it was strange to have this particular order come in. I was certainly not expecting it, which is why I had to message a good friend of mine in the Hellcatch Valley to send me these particular pots.
Do you mind giving us the contacts for this person?
Oh, I don't think he'd be comfortable with me sharing that. I'm sorry.
That's fair. And do you have the letter they sent you?
The letter who sent me?
House Loomis, the original order.
Ah, yes, I do. He reaches down into a small wooden box, pulls out a piece of parchment, and then shows you the order form that was written on it.
Do you mind if we take that?
Oh, I have no need for it. It's been paid and stamped. Of course, here, you may have it.
Thank you. Anybody else has questions for him?
I wanted to kind of pull him aside and just kind of be like, I've never had reason to ask, but are you able to use infused gemstones? We may have stumbled across a source of those.
I personally don't dabble in that. The only person that I know of that dabbles in it is the lady that I mentioned, Sarai, the fire genasi. She would be more of a person to ask if you can find her. She's in the Smolder Spire, as I said previously.
What's the dress code for the art auction?
Clothes?
It's not like formal. Like, are people wearing?
Oh,
like,
no.
dresses?
It's quite a kind of. It's an environment where they set up a bar. There's kind of bards there to perform and keep people entertained while preparing for the auction. The artwork is all shown as well. They display it and allow you to examine it, and then you begin the silent bidding process, and then they do the final bid of the top 10 pieces of artwork through an auctioneer of sorts. The Greymakers are quite good at what they do.
Corina whispers to Melody, we're still gonna dress fancy.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's a little bit fancy.
Yeah.
See what I got to deal with, Ryan? You see that?
You don't happen to have any weaponry of sort that
I dabble in a few infusements of weaponry. What's your weaponry of choice?
Well, I seem to have run into some trouble in our last encounter where my crossbow was destroyed. Do anything in the range?
Destroyed or fell apart? There's a bit of a difference.
It kind of fell apart, but
do you prefer hand crossbows, repeater crossbows, heavy crossbows, foot crossbows?
Is there a particular wonderful?
Foot crossbows. That's
well, it doesn't shoot feet, for and you reload it by putting your foot in the stirrup. That's why it's called a footman's. You're right, Automatron. What you said previously was quite accurate. He watches Iltherin goes into a small kind of cubby, opens up a cupboard, pulls out a hand crossbow with a wooden block pressed up into the bottom of it. While it doesn't have the significant range of a heavier crossbow, it does allow you to hold it in a single hand, and it doesn't require that you reload it as a bonus action. You simply pull, point, or we don't use bonus actions. It doesn't require you to use an action to reload the hand crossbow. You simply pull the trigger and it lets loose a bolt.
How much would that
There's
vest
10
cost?
and there's 10 rounds in the boxy clip chamber as well.
How much would that fetch for?
Oh, this is of my own personal make. I have at least a dozen or so in storage. I've had difficulties unloading them. Most people prefer the more dangerous ones. I can sell this to you for 50 gold if you'd like.
Oh. Well, that sounds wonderful, but I think I'll have to pass.
Oh, unfortunately.
Imbeer don't pay you enough.
Apparently not, no.
Yeah, I think Eritrea's got like 12 gold on him at this point, if he's lucky.
Well, since you're technically under my employment now, I guess it could be considered your first payment if I help a little with that.
Oh.
That would be wonderful. Corina.
It would be nice to have a bodyguard who's actually armed with something other than good looks.
A repeater crossbow for my medic, please.
How do you pay for it, Karina? With gold?
Yes.
Okay. Deduct 50 gold from your inventory. He slides the hand crossbow over to Eritrea with an additional 40 rounds that can be used.
Wonderful. I am in your debt.
And the rounds fit into like a leather kind of quiver holster that you can keep on your hip that can hold 40 rounds. The bolts are maybe about 6 inches long, a quarter inch in diameter. The kind of square boxy cartridge that fits underneath the hand crossbow bolt, you simply reload it and reattach, affix it to the underneath side, pull the string back the one time, and it's ready to go.
Great.
And I think in the inventory for D&D Beyond, you can just use the standard hand crossbow.
Got it.
Should be in there.
Yep. Excellent.
Well, Automatron, you bring some of the most interesting people to me. I was wondering, could I challenge all of you for a moment? I have recently been working on a very interesting device. I was wondering if you'd be willing to test it out for me. Bit of a finder's fee involved.
Sure.
Of course.
What is it?
That's it.
They are called flies, is what they are. I have recently been able to. I have a particular infusion called lure, and I've been able to infuse them into the reformed bodies of flies. And you watch as he takes a horsefly out of a little wooden box. He goes, "Watch. Find me a way in." He watches the horsefly kind of animates its little wings, and it just kind of like zips around. He watches it lands on his door handle of his shop, and the horsefly dissolves into it, and you watch as the door clicks open.
Ooh.
Well, that
I
is
have-
awfully handy.
I have 6 of them, if you'd like to try them out.
Yeah, that would be.
Picks up
we
a small
would like
wooden box. Don't forget, you need to use a very simple statement to them. They can do very simple animated activities. Unlock a door, open a window, distract somebody. Normally, I try to stick to physical items, but the nice thing about these is that they destroy themselves after their single use. Leaves nothing behind in case you need to seek privacy of their use. Oh, and you know what? Here's another crate of firecrackers. Take those with you as well.
Yeah.
And please reach out to us if you hear anything else relating to what we spoke about, or
I
Very
have Fawn's charm. If I find any danger or need to reach out to you, I shall.
and also if the House of Loomis reaches out to you again, please.
I shall endeavor to notify you, Corina. Are you
Thank
sure
you.
everything's okay? You've asked a great deal of questions about House Loomis.
Nothing that for your own sake we can divulge at the moment.
Fair enough. Thank you for your caution.
Well, I suppose we should be on our way. The only question is, do we go to the Smolder Spire, or do we perhaps try to go back into the Core Spire? See if House Loomis truly is okay.
I think, if I recall correctly, there was that halfling we didn't kill and has seen our faces.
The Tiefling.
Tiefling. God, I hate. Okay, yes, that one. I do have a bit of a concern that whoever has taken control over House of Loomis would be able to recognize us.
Is it possible, like, Karina, how many people are actually hanging out at the House of Loomis at any one time? Do we think, it's possible that only one person was taken?
It seems unlikely. Oh, yes.
As far as you know, there are... House Loomis is run by Alundra Loomis and Talion Loomis. They are sisters. They're responsible for the arcane research and historical gathering of the house. There is another individual that sometimes does field work, Lyra Dodlight. She is an Azamar that was taken in by the house some time ago. But you also know of Arella Starbloom, who's another archmage that travels a lot. And if they weren't there, that maybe they've traveled somewhere and you're not really sure. There's also Phalor. He is a master artisan. He does a lot of the restorative work of objects that get found. And then there's Narissa Brightstar, a elven female who does a lot of the contributes to the healing and the guidance of those that follow Saloon within the house family. And at any given point, there could be 2 or 3 dozen students amongst the dormitories of the estate. People that are learning the ways of House Loomis or seeking out the understanding of how to become permanent members of House Loomis, or simply there to scribe or learn particular bits of research, knowledge, and historical understanding of both Marquet and a greater Exandria, depending on why they might be there. It's basically both a noble house and almost kind of like a small campus of learning at the same time.
And I thought that it was like a complete takeover situation where we saw a lot of people taken away.
From what you can recall, there were the guards in the gardens outside of the estate tower that you were residing in. There was the direct attack there. And when you were leaving, there was a direct assault on the main hall where the people who run the house would have been. But the dormitories and the other vast areas of the estate, you didn't really have an opportunity to investigate. Just the more kind of important areas of the estate were prominent to you.
Hard to say. Honestly, it seems unlikely that a complete takeover would have happened without anybody knowing, considering just how many people live there. But at the same time, this is a pretty unlikely situation, and...
Is your master's dormitory or residence, is their residence open somewhere where if I was to communicate through the token, they could present themselves in such a way that you might find it believable, and whether or not that person may be safe?
Well, when we were walking inside, we saw her taken, bound and taken, so presumably I
believe that wasn't her, that was her friend, wasn't it?
That was Talion, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Correct.
Is there any bad blood between Alundra and Talion? Did they seem to get along?
Can I do an insight check into that?
Yeah, feel free.
That's a 20.
Ooh,
20.
nice.
Sisters are sisters. There has been a bit of a schism growing recently. Talion wanted to go back to the core responsibilities of House Loomis and go back to traveling, researching the historical activities of both Exandria and the greater kingdoms and city-states. Alondra was more into the recovery of powerful magical objects, and she wanted to further the investment of the side of House Loomis in sponsoring excavations to go out and seek items of power and items of interest. You even remember them arguing over hiring a group of individuals that go by the name the Tomb Takers.
Yeah. I tell them all of that, and I also include that apparently Elandra was looking for me earlier the day that this happened. But when I asked about it, Talus lied and said that something else was happening, which is a little suspicious.
How is it you come across such knowledge?
I mean, we don't just sit around in Loomis, we study magic.
I'm absolutely rolling an insight check.
Yeah, you can roll
Oh,
a
nice.
check on that one. The image of Karina getting her toes done.
Why
at
am
the
I
local-
constantly being grilled?
4? Yeah, you believe her.
Oh,
She's definitely. You
Brutal.
kind of figure with some of the impressive tricks that she's done, that kind of makes sense. She seems very good at magic.
Yeah.
For now.
No, not
Oh, there's a little bit of earthen coming out in that one.
Well, you can't be a bounty hunter by trusting everybody.
but I'm so trustworthy. Yeah, I tell them all that. And I make sure that it's clear that I'm worried about them in a very kind of familial way, and I'm very distressed about this.
Give me a deception check or a performance check. Your choice.
21.
ooh, nice.
Air Trio, give me an insight check if you would, please.
Yep.
I mean, it's not even.
7.
Oh,
7. Okay. Good to know. All of you look towards the front window of the shop. There's a very sickly, rundown looking crow kind of cawing at the window seal. That
Oh,
the
my
window's
baby.
slight open.
The pistol comes out and is pointed at the crow.
Well, stop.
Let me
Not a
just
good
put it
idea.
out
It
of its
looks quite
misery.
ill. Maybe you should put it out of its misery.
You see, I'm not the only one. House Loomis has eagles, and you got this
You watch
thing.
the crow flies over, sits on Karina's shoulder. Everyone else hears "Caw, caw, 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 caw," and like that kind of clicking thing that crows do, that chittering
Yep.
that they do. You hear
The mistress. Everything back at the estate looks in good order. I even saw Alondra Loomis walking the gardens with her wards. The students are all there as well. I did find some tasty corpses at the base of the spire. Oh, they were delicious. I pecked out their eyes so I could have a little bit more ability to turn into a rat. And I crawled through. I think they called them shit boxes. and I crawled into the interior dormitories. All the students are quite fine. And it's almost as if whatever happened last night didn't happen, mistress. Where would you like me to go next? I feel full of energy after eating so much dead flesh.
when I communicate with him, they don't see me communicate with him, right? It's like
it's in
mental
bird
bond.
noises. When you communicate, it's either in clicks and clacks, or you use your mental connection with them. You're free to use either or.
I'll use the mental connection rather than clawing at it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Perfectly normal. Perfectly normal. Not weird at all.
Were you able to see Talus anywhere?
No, mistress, did not see Talion anywhere.
Elandra, was there anything off about her?
Oh no, she was. She seemed to be in the midst of one of her oral presentations to a handful of students in the garden, almost as if nothing had gone afoul, mistress.
Were you able to... Would you be able to see through any deceptions?
I mean, I'm good, but I don't have nearly the power that you possess, mistress. Sorry. I mean, you could always ask him for some extra help. It's been a while since you spoke to him.
Isn't it the Raven Queen?
Well, yes, but she presents in many different forms.
Oh, okay. Yes, it has been. I will reach out to my
All
dark
you
past.
bipeds look the same to me.
Okay, Evil.
Yes, I mean, yes. What would you like me to do next?
I'm trying to tie a little ribbon around his foot while you're talking to him.
Give me a sleight of hand check as you're tying ribbons on the evil.
Can I ask what corpse you've eaten? Do you recognize, like, where did you find that corpse?
I think it was some of the guards that were tossed over the edge.
So nobody has picked them up yet.
Well, they're not going to find them. They're a good 400, 500 feet down in the jungle. They were tasty. Lots of maggots and flies. Yes, yummy, yummy, yummy.
Ooh, is it the people with wings who fell down to the bottom of the spire?
He's describing the guards that were found dead in the garden.
Oh,
The
gotcha.
House
Okay.
Loomis, the Loomis guards. The good guards. Relatively speaking.
Gotcha.
I will ask you to stay in the House of Loomis and go to Talim's. Wait, okay, I keep mispronouncing that name because it's so close to mine that I'm like not sure what to do about it.
It's Talion. Talion.
Tally.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call her Tally because we're so close. I want you to go to Tally's chambers and assume the form of a rat and wait there until further instruction, until somebody walks inside.
Very well. Good mistress.
Flies out the window, heads back in the direction that he came from.
Whoa. I look over at Eritrea and I'm like, you understand anything they say? I mean, I don't know how folk with birds are, but I mean, you seem closer to kinfolk.
Feels kind of like an offensive thing to say.
Just because I have wings? I don't even think Eritrea has wings yet, right? You only at level 1 Azamar.
No, yeah, I get them at like 3 or 4, I think. I have to
Yeah.
No, it's all jibber jabber to me. It is a strange relationship, though, I must say.
Yeah, she sat there staring at that bird for a good 5 minutes. That's very
Haven't you
odd.
seen her caw at it from time to time, too?
I thought she was practicing, but yeah.
You know, I can hear both of you talking. I'm right here.
Of
It's always weird
course.
being
There.
spoken to in the third person.
Of course, I know this.
It's my pet. We're very close. I mean, he means a lot to me. He was a present from somebody I really look up to and is currently in danger and maybe dead. So excuse me if I have some feelings about that.
I mean, if you want to, I could find out very quickly where your friend is, but I would burn up the only use of that token that I have. Hence why I've asked you if it's possible that we could show this somewhere if we was to ask and they were somewhere safe. They could present some sort of a sign or a message for us.
Because we have nothing else to go on, I think it might be best to keep that card for as long as it takes for us to get a proper plan to help her.
Okay.
Eritrea, very happy to have you with us, and I guess technically under the vague contact of employment. But wouldn't Ember Brew be Does Ember Brew know that you quit?
Well, I wouldn't say I was on some sort of strict contract to work with him, but let's just say my mother had a word with him, and I could kind of come and go as I please.
Oh, that's kind of sweet. Okay, you're very close with your mom. That's
Yes.
Who's your mom? Does she
Good
she have a lot of weight? She carry a lot of weight
I
around?
guess you could say something like that. That she's, she's. You may have heard of her, but we'll talk about that at another time.
Is she one of the nobles?
Actually, it could be really helpful if she's one of the noble houses. That could be something to talk to.
Is not, unfortunately. And I just can't. I keep looking at the sky.
Is she? I'm so sorry. Has she passed away? Is that why you keep looking?
Well, no, she's not passed away.
I feel so out of place right now.
Well, I would like to come back to here once the shipment goes to Loomis. But until then, do you guys have any preference about where we get more of our information? It kind of feels like there is something of a conspiracy afoot, and
Well, it sounds like we need to go to the Smolder Spire then, if we're not going to go check in on Loomis.
well, let's
I'd
go.
like to check out this
We
art
gotta go
auction
on the art show? Yeah,
tonight or
art fair.
tomorrow.
When was that auction again? Was that tonight?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow. Yeah, we got a little time.
Usually around
We need to go dress shopping. We need a montage.
We need some time to get
I
clothes.
need a dressing montage.
You know,
Yeah.
we could definitely find dresses in the Smolder Spire.
In the Smolder Spire?
Yeah, absolutely. People come in and out of there with long clothes on all the time.
I'm pretty sure you go to the Core Spire for like really cute dresses.
For
Well,
finery,
I didn't
very
say
nice
they were
finery,
cute.
definitely the core spire.
I didn't say they were cute, and I'm playing on the fact that the workers go in there and they have like they have wear like their slacks and their chaps and everything else.
I mean, the Prism Emporium would probably be a good location to go to. That's
But
a series of finer shops that are all kind of clumped together directly underneath where all the noble quarters are, and then the Chandei Quorum would be further up. So it doesn't necessarily put you in direct contact with the estates, but it's definitely the area of like where nobility goes to shop.
You remember when we were on the gondola headed to the spires the first night, I told our now deceased friends that I'd sent that air fella to the Smolder Spire, to the Hubatt Corsairs facility there. And they sounded like they might be preparing some kind of surprise for them. It could be nice to check in and see how that went.
Yeah.
That had to only happen roughly the same time as what we were already participating in.
That does sound like a plan.
We also have this fire genasi to look on as well, also in the spire.
So our leads are the art auction, the fire genasi. We could go back to the Loomis house.
Also, House of Loomis asked for materials to make something that has to do with a clock.
Or mechanics or
clockwork.
Yeah.
Mechanics of clockwork, yeah. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
I like imagined them building a giant clock.
No, they're building a new trauma.
Smolder Spire
And
is where
it was
Everbrew is,
Trafon,
right?
it was Trafon Airswift was the one that
Yep.
you fed the false information to.
Yep.
This is unrelated to anything. I have to know. Was Houdini jumping from the floor to Here, did any of that get captured on camera? Because that
I
was
didn't see it.
ador-
No.
Oh,
Nope.
God.
Just saw you grab him down.
Yeah.
It's like if it did
Cat
it
rolled a
in
natural
3
20 for
frames, it's
stealth.
like, yeah.
Were you singing Dua Lipa when you got him down?
Dua Lipa, we got it.
We also have the lead with the camels, and it seems like there is some kind of moving in of goods from.
Well,
The
friend
Hellcat
here
Valley.
talked about the
Yeah.
Hellcatch Valley. My friend talked about the Hellcatch Valley. Both of them involved the same bald-headed, white-bearded, heavily scarred individual.
Well, somebody with a personal axe to grind with him, I would love to also follow on that and, maybe have a little bit of revenge. Do we want to split so we can cover more ground and then meet up for the art auction, or do we
Sure. Let's split the party.
we will not to Scooby-Doo it, not to
Zoinks, I believe.
but we could cover more ground in less time, and we don't have a lot of I don't know how much time we have. Does anybody have any preference in this? Any thoughts about that?
If we're gonna go see House Loomis, that feels like that could be a priority. But if you don't want to do that until we have the cover of the page, then maybe that waits for a couple days.
Okay. Hopefully the page thing I think he said it's going to be either tomorrow or the day after, so it shouldn't be too long, hopefully. And it would be good to not draw attention to ourselves at this moment.
Should we go to the Smolder Spire and chase down all the leads there? Because that's where Ember Brew is, and Solara, and
I think Abel's here on the Lantern Spire.
Oh, is Spire by Fire on the Lantern Spire? Spire.
Let me double check.
I don't think it's on the Smolder Spire, because the Smolder Spire is where I sent them to go. They were headed back where we came from. I believe we were on the Lantern Spire.
The Spire by Fire is on the very low section of the Core Spire.
The Core Spire.
Oh, it's on the Core Spire.
And it's also located on the bridge that spans between the low section of the Weary Way Tavern and the near the bottom of the Lantern Spire. So while the gondolas get you access to the upper tiers, the lower tiers are where a lot of the normal folk live, shop, work, and the Spire by Fire is connected by a rather large bridge called the Fate Walk Bridge that connects the lower portions of the Lantern Spire and the Core Spire.
Should we go to
In fact,
the Spire
you
by
guys
Fire?
have traversed well enough and have become familiar enough with the 3 key spires. I will put the map in there for you and pin it in the Discord. Since you've already gone to the Airy Spire, you've been to the Core Spire and the Lantern Spire. The Smolder Spire is that 4th spire in the background.
Yep.
That one is considered to be quite isolated because of the heavy amount of industry that takes place there.
I believe that's where we're headed.
With that, you say goodbye to Ilthrin, find your way back into the busy pathways of the Lantern Spire, seeking out one of the local gondolas. You load up onto the gondola and begin to make your way towards the Smolder Spire. I think that's a good spot to stop tonight, as you have covered a lot of ground, learned a lot of information. And when we come back next Sunday, everybody's good for next Sunday?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when we come back next Sunday, we'll take it up from there. It's weird playing a little over 2-year campaign, and here we are on session 4. of the new one. Isn't it weird how you can like play together for so long, but you still find yourself trying to figure out how do you start a new campaign? Like, what does it feel like? You know, meeting each other at the Spire by Fire, you know, ending up at House Loomis and then experiencing what felt like some nefarious activity, and then, you know, taking out the assassins and then meeting these new contacts. Each time we meet, like the session seems to get like, oh, okay, more familiar territory. But none of your characters feel the same to me. You know, I know Eritrio's finding his footing for the first time, and that can take a little bit of time. Have I gotten everybody's backstories, by the way? Have I gotten all that from everyone?
Yeah.
You still need
I'm
mine.
almost positive you have mine.
Okay, yeah, I think I have everyone but Melody's, but I think a single sentence party girl is good now. But if you want to give me any flourish or more detail about your sister, that would help a lot for that part of your backstory. And I believe everyone PM'd me your backstories, correct?
Yep.
I have it in the main chat. I can
Yeah, I
send
have
it
it
in
in the
the
name, but I could PM it to you.
Yeah, PM it to me because it's easier for me to copy paste and drop it into the OneNote and do the attachments. So everybody else, be safe, be kind. Don't forget to play a game. You guys go ahead and linger really quick. And then good night, everybody.